Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. The Chicago Blackhawks yesterday lost their third game in a row to the Boston Bruins, a 5-2 defeat at home. And so I want to come on here. I didn't do a post game last night, but I wanted to come on here and kind of just talk about the group as of right now and kind of what I think needs to happen. This is not a sound the alarm bells kind of video. If you have not watched many of my videos, I really try not to be one of these overreactionary types like you see from many of the burner account, Blackhawk fan account like that think they're geniuses on Twitter that, make up are the loudest voices in Chicago Blackhawks discourse on social media. I'm not like those types who after a couple losses start talking about Gavin McKenna and stuff like that. Because look, I think that if you are an actual fan of this team, and you are aware of what's gone on with this group and this organization over the past few years, you should be aware of the fact that this team is coming out of a rebuild. They are still technically, in the latter part of a rebuild. And what this group has done this year has been awesome because they have overachieved. We have seen massive progress, not just as a team, but from individual players all throughout the lineup. And so I think that, if you were to just zoom out and look at the Blackhawks season thus far, you should feel quite good about how things have gone. And so when I see people online being overcritical of the young players or overcritical of the coach or the general manager, it kind of just makes me sick to my stomach and a little irritated because it's just like, what do you want? Like, genuinely, what do you want from this team, from this group, from this GM right now? It just pisses me off a little bit. But I know that I'm often very positive about this group and sunshine and rainbows on here. And I normally shield the players from some criticism and the coach and the general manager alike. But this is going to be a little bit more critical of a video. And what I want to talk about, and is you could probably tell from title and thumbnail of this video, is I want to do lineup talk. So I just pulled up on the screen here this Ben Pope tweet. I think it's time for the Chicago Blackhawks to shake up the lineup a little bit. I think it's time for maybe not a full, forward group line blender situation here from Jeff Blashill, but I think a couple things need to be tweaked because these last couple games that you've lost at home to Calgary and Boston were pretty winnable games. Like, it's not like either of those teams are way better than the Chicago Blackhawks right now. And I would argue that when the Chicago Blackhawks are on their game and just playing decently well, they should beat both of those teams. Even though I know Boston Bruins are higher up in the standings and have 10 or 11 more points, I just think when this Blackhawks team plays good, which they didn't, they played really poorly, honestly, yesterday night. But when they play decent, they should beat the Boston Bruins, especially with Connor Bedard back and healthy. So, look, Ben Pope tweeted lines at practice today, same as they've been. And he wrote this article yesterday before the game. Just saying and so he replied to his own tweet and he said it's rather remarkable that Jeff Blashill hasn't shuffled them after these last two losses. Says a lot about his philosophy of patience, giving players ample time to build chemistry. And the article's good that Ben wrote because he kind of he pulls up some stats specifically about Bedard and how Bedard spent really small portions of the season playing with similar line mates where he's spent over 60% of his 5-on-5 ice time this year with Andre Burakovsky and 50% of his 5-on-5 ice time with Ryan Green. And I think those things are good. I think that's great. I think it's been awesome. It was one of the things we were clamoring for at the start of the year. If you followed the team last season as closely as I did, it was nightmare under Luke Richardson and Anders Sorensen. Connor Bedard was consistently playing. It wasn't just Bedard; it was the whole lineup. But specifically, Connor Bedard was playing with different line mates. It felt every single night, not developing any sort of chemistry, and it was a problem. But look. There's 82 games in the regular season. That's a ton of games. Sometimes you go on these little streaks where you're struggling a little bit, and you don't need to, freak out and fire the coach and fire the general manager and say, we need to get Bedard help, ship Burakovsky. Like, you don't need to do all that. Sometimes you just got to tweak the lines a little bit, and I think that's what needs to happen here. But the lines have been Green, Bedard, Burakovsky on that first line. Since Bedard's come back, he hasn't been taking many faceoffs, and so Ryan Green's been taking a lot of faceoffs, and they're pretty good at exchanging who's kind of playing center and who's playing on the wing. They figure that stuff out as the play develops and as the game goes along. And then we got Dickinson, Mikheyev, Bertuzzi on the second line. And look, man, Tyler Bertuzzi has the most goals on the team. I know that Jason Dickinson and Ilya Mikheyev play important roles for this team, really defensive roles, and Jason Dickinson is a solid two-way guy, but I just do not think that you should have your best goal scorer right now on the team and Tyler Bertuzzi on a checking line. It doesn't make sense. And then the third line, Oliver Moore, the center position, he's been fantastic. He's been so good. Last night, he was the best forward, I think, for the Blackhawks. Ryan Green might have something to say about that. I think Ryan Green had a tremendous game yesterday as well, but Oliver Moore has just been great since moving to the center position. Him and Lardis clearly have some real chemistry, and since Teuvo Teravainen injury, Ryan Donato has filled in that spot, and I think this was the most consistent line yesterday. It was pretty shocking that Lardis wasn't able to score. He had some really good opportunities around the net, but just wasn't able to put them away mostly because of really good defensive plays or good goaltending, not any howlers from his end. And then the fourth line is Nick Foligno, Landon Slaggert, and Colton Dach. And so I do have Puckpedia here, and so I kind of want to talk about the immediate changes for right now. So you're still without Frank Nazar and Teuvo Teravainen for another game. It sounds like Frank Nazar might be playing on Thursday, and the same thing goes for Teuvo Teravainen. So the Blackhawks might be getting both of those guys back on Thursday, which will shuffle the lines. But for the game tomorrow against Winnipeg, I don't want to see this forward group again. I just don't, because the reality is you've lost 3 straight, And you guys know, I'm not overly critical. I like to kind of just sit back, even when things are going back, even when things are going poorly. I like to sit back and see how things play out. But you got to tweak it, because it just looked, the past 2 games have just looked stale offensively. It's just been stale. In the game yesterday against Boston, Connor Bedard wasn't getting on the puck nearly as much as we're used to seeing him. People were saying that, he looks slower, he looks different since coming back from injury. I don't think that's the truth. I think he had a great game against Calgary. I think he played a great game against Nashville. I think he's had good games since he's been back. Just yesterday, he was really subdued by the Boston Bruins and wasn't getting on the puck as much as we're used to seeing him. And I think a big part of that has been the play of Andre Burakovsky. I think Burakovsky's been straight up bad for a little while. Past few games have just been really rough from him. And Jeff Blashill this season, we've seen him promote guys and demote guys based on their play, and he's been pretty consistent on it. And so it's getting me a little frustrated now seeing him not do that with Andre Burakovsky, because he's not been good. I mean, how many times are we seeing him turn the puck over or skate past the puck defensively, skate past a play, lose the puck when we have possession in the offensive zone? It's just been very frustrating for me to watch Andre Burakovsky as of late. And now Andre Burakovsky's been great this year. That was a great acquisition by Kyle Davidson. He has played really well with Connor Bedard throughout the season, but right now it's just not working, so you've got to mix it up. You got to mix it up. And I'm not saying, Andre Burakovsky needs to get traded, get this guy out of here. No, I don't think they should trade Andre Burakovsky. That's not what I'm saying. I think you should just play him lower down the lineup for a little bit until he can find his game again. See if you can get someone else going on that top line. And so I think my suggestion, I was saying last night on stream that I really want to see Nick Lardis up here on this first line. And that would be awesome. That's a possibility. If that's something that happens, I would love it, because I think Nick Lardis is great, way better than Andre Burakovsky at finding areas in the O zone, open areas of ice to get ready to take the puck and shoot it. That's Nick Lardis' game. He is a pure goal scorer, and I think if you have a weapon like that on the ice with Connor Bedard, it's not only going to add a scoring threat to the line, but it makes teams stay honest when defending when Connor Bedard has the puck, and it's going to open up ice for Connor Bedard. So I would like to see that, but I think, like, as I've thought about this more over the past, 13 hours or whatever it's been, I really do think it just makes more sense to put Tyler Bertuzzi up there on that first line. Bert and Bedard have been great this year. They've built chemistry over the past couple seasons. Tyler Bertuzzi has been scoring at will. He's great around the net. You just need a goal scorer threat on this line. Ryan Green is not the guy I would take off this line. I know a bunch of, people on X would say that Ryan Green's the guy. Ryan Green gets the puck to Connor Bedard better than anybody that Connor Bedard has played with in his NHL career. Nobody can find Connor Bedard's tape like Ryan Green can. He helps him in his own zone. He's a good puck winner. He's good at faceoffs. Ryan Green is exactly the guy you want on a line with Connor Bedard to do a lot of the dirty work so that Bedard can focus more offensively. And that's not a slight on Connor Bedard. As a Blackhawks fan, I want Connor Bedard using the most amount of energy, the most focus on the offensive side of the game because that's what he's best at. That's what he's best at. He's one of the best offensive players in the world already. I don't want him having to dig in super deep and grind in his own zone all the time. And so I want Ryan Green there, but then put Tyler Bertuzzi on that wing. Get me a scoring threat. Give me a Tyler Bertuzzi, net front guy, always looking backdoor when Bedard has the puck. Give me that. Give me Bertuzzi back on Bedard's line or Nick Lardis. But for the sake of this video right now, I'll say Tyler Bertuzzi. And then I think you can just do this. I think you can just put Andre Burakovsky on this line with Jason Dickinson and Ilya Mikheyev for the game against Winnipeg tomorrow. But then also before I go, I am going to talk about what lines I want to see and what I think the lines might look like when Frank Nazar and Teuvo Teravainen come back. Because that's important, and there's going to be a tough decision that's going to have to be made. There really is, because it's hard. Even if you look at these bottom guys, I think we all know Landon Slaggert will be the first guy, cut and put into the press box, or scratched, I should say. So, that's not difficult. But then once you get Nazar and Teuvo back, you got to make a decision here. I could totally see Jeff Blashill just making Nick Lardis be the guy that gets pulled out of the lineup. Hey, buddy, we're healthy. We're going to send you back down to Rockford. You came up prematurely. But I think Nick Lardis and Oliver Moore have been, two of the more exciting, more dangerous offensive players on the team over the past couple weeks. And so Nick Lardis would not be the guy I'm sending down, especially because of how he's complimented Oliver Moore. So that wouldn't be my decision. But let's bring Teuvo Teravainen kind of back into the lineup up here. Here's what I would do when Nazar and where's Frank Nazar? Here's Frank Nazar. When Frank Nazar and Teuvo Teravainen are back, I'm bringing Ryan Donato back down to the fourth line. Am I? Hold up. I'm going to think through this live with you guys. So you can kind of see my ears spinning a little bit, or my ears smoking. No. Yeah. Teuvo Teravainen, I'm putting back on the line with Oliver Moore and Nick Lardis. They were fantastic. Those three, all the games that I saw of those three together, they complemented each other really well. They were very dangerous. I think Teravainen's really good at getting pucks into spots for Moore to skate onto, and is able to find Nick Lardis with good passes too. That's a line that I want to continue to see. I think that's a perfect third line depth scoring line, and I want to see more of them. And then Frank Nazar is going to obviously I would imagine is going to return into the 2C role. I think you bring Jason Dickinson onto the fourth line. You still need a checking line, a defensively responsible line. I think you keep him and Ilya Mikheyev together, because why would you not? He's not going to scratch or, healthy scratch Nick Foligno, the captain. This might be what you're looking at. And I like this. Put Ryan Donato back up in the top six. Put him with Nazar and Burakovsky. This would be a line that you'd have to closely monitor, because these guys haven't played much together. But I do think their games could complement each other's well. it hurts my soul, like, having Colton Dock be the odd man out. Like, realistically, I think Andre Burakovsky should, like, not be playing. Straight up. Like, I do think that maybe you healthy scratch Andre Burakovsky, but that's just not going to happen. I think this could be a pretty solid lineup for when you get Frank Nazar and Teuvo Teravainen back. You've got 3 lines of guys that can hurt teams offensively, and then you've got a really solid defensive shutdown line that you maybe play against other teams' top lines or second best line. You put them out there for defensive zone draws and that kind of stuff. You got 2 guys that can win faceoffs in Nick Foligno and Jason Dickinson. I like this a lot. Let me know in the comments what you want to see for the game Monday, but more specifically with Teuvo Teravainen and Frank Nazar coming back into the lineup, hopefully by Thursday. Let me know what you guys think the lineups should be. Maybe some of these combinations, including the first line with Bedard. Do you guys want to, I know a lot of people have wanted to see Lardis with Bedard, but let me know what you guys think about this shakeup. I think the defensive core is, you just keep this going. You keep this rolling until you eventually maybe trade Connor Murphy at the trade deadline, and then you bring Sam Rinzel back up, and you have Crevier, Rinzel, and Levshinov there on the right side. But let me know what you think about the forward group and what you want to see Jeff Blashill do with this crew, because look, I don't think it's time for doom and gloom. Like, this team has proven all year long that they can get hot and go on runs. And now that they're getting closer to being fully healthy, there's no reason to think that they're not going to do that again and rattle off several games in a row. And I think if they can do that, they're going to put themselves right back into that playoff picture, just because of how bad the West is outside of the top team. So let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, throw a like on it too. That stuff helps me out. But other than that, bear down tonight. And I will see you guys on stream tomorrow for Jonathan Toews' return against the Winnipeg Jets. So have a good night. Go Blackhawks and go Bears.